breaking down Dane Brugler's way too early 2026 NFL mock draft, and we'll react to all the picks that Brugler makes. Obviously, it's way too early. The draft order here is based on the Vegas odds, so A, don't shoot me as the messenger, and B, blame Vegas more than anybody else. Now, if you want me to do my own 2026 NFL mock draft, show it by typing me in the comments section of today's show as we break down what Dane has. With the first pick, the Saints take Arch Manning, the quarterback out of Texas. Now, I will say, I think there is a very real possibility. In fact, I'd say it's more likely than not right now that Arch Manning goes back to school for at least 2026. He's got 3 more years of eligibility. He had a redshirt year, then last year. I would not rule that out. I think the scenario in which Arch goes pro, he plays out of his mind. He lives up to all the hype despite not actually playing all that much yet in his college career. I think it is more hype than production so far. And, if the Saints get number 1 overall pick, then, look at that. Saints get to draft the grandson of the last quarterback they took in the first round. But I do think, again, there is a real possibility Arch does not go pro this upcoming season. The Jets at number 2, Lenore Sellers. I'm really intrigued about him entering this season. I think this is in general, when you do way too early mock drafts, you're projecting growth and a step forward. Sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't. Sellers has traits. He's got great size, mobility, arm strength. As a passer, he's not there yet. But if you project a step forward, he's probably gonna get some Cam Newton comps. Like that's the upside here. Next up on the mock draft is a Utah offensive tackle. Not often you see one of those. Spencer Fano out of Utah. The Giants at picking at 3. In theory, you get some protection there for Jackson Dart. It's always, I think it's a good thing for an offensive lineman when your chin has muscles. I think that's a positive thing. All right, TJ Parker, edge from Clemson. We'll talk about a different Clemson player later on. The Tigers have a lot of really good talent. They should be a good team this year. Parker, I think, has a chance to be one of the first, if not the first, defensive players drafted. Has the burst teams covet at the edge rusher spot. Browns at 5. Oh, they take a quarterback. And Drew Aller, again, I talk about the upside, the potential stuff. The arm strength is great. The size is great. The consistency is not. The one thing I think I need to see out of Drew Aller that I haven't seen from some QBs, even in this year's class and last year's class, can you make plays in the biggest moments? Can you deliver on third downs? Aller did not really in the CFP run. Now, Penn State should be good again this year. Going to be a lot of high-profile games to kind of make those biggest moments happen on the biggest stage. This would be a homecoming, by the way, for Drew Aller. He is, I believe, from Cleveland originally. I think going back to school was the right decision. If he takes a step forward, awesome. Otherwise, he's going to get that Christian Hackenberg tag slapped on him. Who do you think will end up being the first QB taken in the 2026 NFL Draft? It's the pinned comment. Let me know at that spot if the ad comes here on YouTube. Carolina gets a defensive tackle. Keldrick Folk, the DT out of Auburn, offers some run stopping, offers some pass rush. Really great size, 6'6", 288. Auburn kind of gave him some defensive end, 5 technique stuff, offers some of that like Eric Armstead style of play, Cam Hayward style of play. I would actually put Caleb Downs as my number 1 player right now, but it is a safety, and safeties aren't as valuable there. The former Alabama player transferred to Ohio State. He is everything I covet in a safety: size, speed, athletic ability, playmaking. He's going to be in every single top 10 mock draft. Colts take Caden Proctor, the offensive tackle out of Alabama. Proctor's got great size. Did the weird Bama transfer again. Kind of played banged up last year. So a healthy season, and you're hoping this ends up looking like a true round 1 left tackle prospect. Austin Barber, the offensive tackle out of Florida, size, athletic ability. By the way, this Browns pick here, which they've got some uncertainty long-term at the tackle spots, is from Jacksonville as part of the Travis Hunter trade. Mateo Uyunglele, the edge rusher out of Oregon. Oregon lost all but one of their defensive line starters, and it was Uyunglele, who I think has maybe better traits than the other three guys, all of whom got drafted this year. Harmon, Birch, and Caldwell. This is DJU's younger brother. Is not the smaller brother by any stretch of the imagination. He's going to have a lot of hype around him going into this season. Jermon McCoy, the cornerback out of Tennessee, who began his career at Oregon State, then goes to the Volunteers. 4 interceptions in his sophomore campaign. Rams could still use a corner. This pick, by the way, via the James Pierce trade, which, boy, if that pick ends up being top 12, there's going to be some frustration, I think, in Atlanta. Anthony Hill Jr., one of my favorite prospects, early prospects, out of Texas. This is a very fun, athletic linebacker. He can blitz, he can run, he can cover. There's some similarities, like maybe some souped-up DeMarvion Overshown, or the best of what we saw from DeMarvion Overshown when he's been healthy for the Dallas Cowboys. I think he would thrive in Seattle with Mike Macdonald. By the way, not the best Texas defender, but Colin Simmons is not draft eligible quite yet. Oh, look, another Ohio State first-round wide receiver. This would be 6 in 5 years, by the way. Carnell Tate, who was the number 3 receiver last year behind Jeremiah Smith, not draft eligible, part of an unreal 2027 class at receiver, by the way. Just stay tuned for that one. Now gets to be the number 2. Could put up big-time production for the Buckeyes. Dolphins, I think this would be a Tyreek Hill replacement in this scenario. More picks to come, but you can get NFL rookie jerseys over at chatsports.com/NFL jersey. Link will be in the comment section and the description of today's show. It is sorted by kind of like most popular, best-selling, so you might have to search or scroll or, pick a filter by a team. The Shitter Sander ones are quite popular. Go figure. Links in the comments and the description of today's video. Chatsports.com/NFL jersey. Let's go to the Dallas Cowboys, pick 14. By the way, I don't love this receiver class, by the way. Do want to mention that early on. Jeremiah Love, this is the only back that Dane's got mocked here. Health has kind of been a red flag in the past. He is explosive as all get out. Notre Dame will lean on him with a new quarterback involved. As long as that kind of lower body stays healthy, this is one of the most dynamic backs in all of college football. Love his game. Just go watch that 98-yard touchdown run against Indiana. All right. Arizona, C.J. Allen. There's a Georgia player. I thought was really good against the run. Kind of popped a few times watching all the other Georgia players on that team. In general, I think this class is a little bit light on some of the top-end talent. QB could be better. I think NFL needs some breakout players from guys like Georgia and Clemson and Alabama to kind of step up. Pittsburgh at 16, Garrett Nussmeier. Had he gone pro, I think he would have been taken before Jackson Dart this year. The bar is not crazy high on that one there. My biggest thing for the Nuss bus, especially if he wants to end up going to the Saints where his dad is the OC, I want to see him cut down on some of the nonsense decision-making. Like, there's moments of like, dude, what are you doing? Like, he'll actually do progressions and then just like be so caught up in going 1, 2, 3. He's throwing it to 3 no matter what, and there's a guy right there. That's what confuses me. Ruben Bain had a really great season 2 years ago for the Hurricanes as a true freshman. Was a bit banged up last year. If he gets back to form and takes a step forward, 17 might be too low for him. Dane is calling a shot with Kenyon Sadiq out of Oregon here. He was kind of stuck behind Terrence Ferguson. Oregon's going to replace Tez Johnson, replacing Ferguson. He has only 332 yards, but in general, I've noticed this. When Dane calls his shot early on a player who hasn't been super productive so far, he kind of ends up being right. Now, we've got you covered on all things NFL, including but not limited to NFL Draft. Hit that sub button if you haven't already. LT Overton, the Texas A&M transfer, now at Alabama, who played for Alabama, by the way, last year. Again, kind of has some semblances to Shamar Stewart. Not as big, not quite as athletic. Just needs to finish a little bit more consistently. NFL teams are quite high on him. I think that Peter Woods is going to go earlier in the draft. Now, Clemson, because of the bodies they had, they were playing him at defensive end some last year, and he's like 315. So put him at defensive tackle, let him cook. I would not be surprised if Peter Woods has, and this is a former 5-star, super talented kid, has such a good season. We're talking about him in the top 5, top 10. Jalen Kilgore, the cornerback out of South Carolina, 5 interceptions, by the way, in 2024, tying with Jade Barron and Andrew Bakuba, has pretty good size as well. South Carolina, low-key, has kind of developed a very nice little talent pipeline. They need to take the step forward this upcoming season. Tyreek Sapp, who's kind of got a weird build. He's like 6'2", 275 at edge. That's not a common build, but I think he holds it, handles it pretty well. He's got really intriguing disruption traits, and with some of the departures up front for Florida, is in line for big-time play. Cage Casey. It's a great offensive line name, by the way. Cage Casey. Out of Boise State. He was a factor in some of the ground game stuff for Ashton Genty. Curious how he fares with another step forward. If you're seeing, okay, Avion Terrell, that's quarterback out of Clemson. Wait, his last name is Terrell. Is that? Yes, it is A.J. Terrell's brother. Not as big as A.J., a little bit more undersized, but I think he looks like he grew up watching his NFL older brother. Like, that's kind of like the vibe I get. Like, he's got natural instincts overall, and I think it's pretty fluid too. Whit Weeks, the linebacker out of LSU, tackling machine for the Tigers. He did outplay Harold Perkins this past season. Did suffer an ankle injury in the bowl game, so we'll have to keep an eye on that one. Bengals get offensive line help. Francis Mauigoa out of Miami. This is the younger brother of Francisco, who was drafted in this past year's NFL draft by the Jets. 5-star offensive tackle recruit. Has played right tackle for Miami. Not sure about who goes to the left side then, if the Bengals are taking him at tackle, but he has the traits to be a potential first-round pick. I actually kind of dig Dane putting Fernando Mendoza in here. This is the Cal to Indiana transfer. I saw a lot of good stuff out of him this past year. Cal's lost a bunch between the winter and spring transfer portal. Indiana, they made a bunch of noise last year behind Curtis Rourke. Can Mendoza take even another step forward beyond that? It's a lot of QBs Dane had in there. And it doesn't include guys like Carson Beck, who really saw his draft stock kind of tank a little bit this past year. I think there's one other QB I'll mention here at the end of the show that I think should probably be in the conversation too. How many QBs go in round 1 of the 2026 NFL draft? Get those predictions in the comments of today's show. Lions get an edge. I mean, that certainly makes some sense, right? Anto Saka out of Northwestern. Again, Dane's kind of calling a shot here. Never started a game yet, but as a sub-package pass rusher, that's what you're aiming for there. All right, Keanu Tanuvasa out of BYU, transferred from Utah, so the rare Holy War transfer that you don't always see all that much there. Dane's kind of calling a shot here. Missed a big part of the season, hoping for a breakout year. I think is actually a good fit for what the Chiefs need, though. I love the Bills taking a safety. Kamari Ramsey, I think probably gone top 75 had he turned pro. Good athlete, good range, some playmaking ability. In general, I like this safety class a lot. This is an upside pick, too. The Ravens take Evan Stewart, the wide receiver out of Oregon. The consistency is not there. The flashes are. And it's almost now or never for Evan Stewart. Jude Bowery, the Eagles. Oh, look, they take an offensive tackle. Doesn't actually kind of make some sense, right? Ozzie Trapillo was taken in round 2. His running mate is also pretty darn good. I think better pass protector right now than a run stopper in Jude Bowery. All right, it is very early. There's definitely names that are going to go in round 1 that Dane did not include. That's how it goes. Who did he leave off his 2026 NFL mock draft? I'll mention some names here in just a second. I was very impressed by Cade Klubnik down the stretch. I thought we kind of saw the breakout happen almost in real time. I think he's got a chance to make a massive step forward, and I think he can push for being a real round 1 pick among other QBs that will contend. I think Cade Klubnik is the one to monitor. Nick Singleton could have gone pro, and I think made the right call to come back in such a loaded class. He and his teammate in the backfield at Penn State are very good players. I have seen Nick Harbor in round 1 mock drafts. He is going to be the ultimate. I'll mention him. Dude is a freak athlete. He's like 6'5", 230. I think his weight at 240 in the past. And is a second-team All-American in track because he's that fast. He ran a 10-100-meter dash. He's a cheat code in CFB 25. but he's still athlete playing football right now, so I can't put him in there. Aaron Anderson's undersized, but he's got athletic juice. Jordan Tyson, did not get to see him in the CFP run, but he was a big part of the ASU offense. Denzel Boston has flashed a little bit. Isaiah World is a Nevada transfer. Underrated name to keep an eye on. I know PFF loves Jake Slaughter. It's an elite name, too, so name theory there. Christian Miller out of Georgia is probably primed for a big step forward. Caleb Banks has flashed. Danny Dennis Sutton had almost 9 sacks last year. Could be primed for a big year. Sontaran Perkins from Ole Miss is kind of a weird tweener with his size. He's listed like 210, but he had a bunch of sacks, so kind of curious what his role ends up being this upcoming year and beyond. Harold Perkins has long had a round 1 draft hype, but he's coming off an injury. The production has been not consistent since his freshman year. Deontay Lawson, longtime name, but he's had injury problems. Malik Muhammad is a damn good corner. I think could be probably more top 50 than round 1 right now. See how that this year plays out, obviously. Dylan Thieneman, not a household name. He was at Purdue last year. He might thrive at Oregon, though.